Welcome to this tutorial on introductory surface area and volume. We're going to look at the surface area and volume of this regular pentagon prism pictured. Its bases are regular pentagons, and the other faces, as we discussed in class with a prism, are simply rectangles. So what we are going to do first is find the area of the base. Now anytime we have a figure that's a prism, the side that is not a rectangle is going to be the base. Now sometimes the base could be a rectangle, but in this case the base is going to be simply the regular pentagon that we have pictured right there. Now in this problem we will have decimals as answers, and hopefully we remember the process of finding the area of a regular polygon. So we draw in this key triangle, and I'm going to draw it out a little bit larger over here on the side. Since it's a regular polygon, the 8 gets split in half, and the bottom here is going to be a 4. We want to find this thing called the apothem that we will denote A. Now remember to find the angle, the interior angle of a regular polygon. We have this formula n minus 2 times 180 divided by n, where n is the number of sides. So in this case, 5 minus 2 is 3. We're going to take 3 times 180 divided by 5. So 3 times 180 divided by 5. But now look at the angle in the triangle. That's certainly not going to be 108 degrees. So remember that it gets split in half when we draw this triangle in over on the side, because these two angles that I've just dotted are going to be congruent based on the symmetry of a regular polygon. So when we take 108 degrees and cut it in half, we get 54 degrees for the angle. So the angle here in our triangle is a 54. We want to find the apothem. We've got the opposite, we've got the adjacent. Remember, when we have the opposite and the adjacent, it's the tangent for TOA that we're going to use. So the tangent of 54 degrees here is going to be A over 4. We would multiply both sides by 4, and 4 times the tangent of 54 is going to be A. Now remember, you need to be sure your calculator's in degree mode. If you change the batteries, make sure you change the mode back to degree. And we're going to go 4 times the tangent of 54 degrees. That's going to be our apothem, so I will store it as A for apothem. About 5.51. Now I will keep all of the decimals in my calculator, but for the purposes of showing work, I will round to 2 decimal places correctly. Now there's two things that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to find the surface area, and we're going to have to find the volume. So when we do the surface area, it's the area of all of the faces. So when we're doing surface area, it's going to be 2 times the area of a pentagon plus, now there's going to be 5 of those rectangles spinning around, all of which are going to be congruent. If you prefer to set it up in this fashion, that's fine with me. Now the area of the pentagon is going to be 1/2 times the apothem, 5.51, times the side length, which is 8, times the number of sides, which is 5. So that's going to be our A, our S, and our N, plus 5 times the area of a rectangle in the picture. Now here's one of the rectangles. Hopefully we can tell that one of its dimensions here is 22. We'll call that the base. And the height of that rectangle, I know the rectangle appears slanted, but it really isn't. It's just the way the figure is oriented right now. This side is going to be an 8. Now what I'm going to do is calculate each of those two things separately, because sometimes it's helpful to know what they are individually. So we'll go back to our calculator. I'm just going to take the 1/2 times A, I'm going to store that A value, times the side length, which was 8, times the number of sides, which was 5. That's going to be the area of the pentagon. I'll store that as alpha P for pentagon. About 110.11. So we'll put that over here, 110.11. And then we need our rectangle, which is just 22 by 8, 176. And then we can type all of that stuff into the calculator to get our overall surface area. So it's going to be 2 times P plus 5 times 176. Wow, 1100.22. Now please watch units. Those are also going to be a big deal in this unit. So centimeters is involved. We're doing area, which involves 2 dimensions. So the label will be square centimeters. Now when it comes to volume, in a figure like this, it's just the area of the base. Hence we're using a capital B for the area of the base times the height. Well, the area of the base is just simply going to be the area of the pentagon, and the height of the figure is the distance between bases. In this case, the distance between our bases is just the 22. That's what we term the height when we're looking for volume. So the area of the pentagon here is 110.11, rounded to 2 decimal places. The height of this prism is 22. And so when we multiply those things together, we'll take the P for the pentagon times 22, and we're getting 2422.43. 2422.43. Double checking that. Awesome. And then we also need to have our units. Now volume involves 3 dimensions, so the unit will be centimeters cubed in this particular problem. So for now, surface area and volume are not that bad. Surface area, you find the area of each of the faces, add them up, and watch the units. For the volume, you take the area of a base, which a base is something that isn't a rectangle when we're involving a prism. Now, if the prism is a cube or a rectangular prism, yes, the base will be a rectangle. But if you have a face that is not a rectangle, that needs to be the base. And then the height is just simply the distance between your bases. Follow this process. Remember things from earlier in the course, each angle in a regular polygon, how to use sine, cosine, tangent, and you should be good with surface area and volume at this point.